What about when we tell other countries, maybe in Africa, maybe like some time ago, Cote d'Ivoire, then we have Burkina Faso, or when military coup occurs and Nigeria speaks up in conjunction with the AU saying, no, this is not acceptable, you must restore civilian government. Isn't that the same thing that we're doing?
It's completely different. First of all, there is what we call the principle of subsidiarity at the level of intra-African Union relations. The principle says that African Union will not address or intervene or interfere in any issue until the regional organization has addressed, that is the regional organization relevant to the crisis, the conflict in issue. If, for instance, as you rightly pointed out, the case of the Cote d'Ivoire necessarily falls within the responsibility of the ECOWAS. Now, AU will not do anything until ECOWAS has been allowed to exhaust all possible avenues to resolve the problem. Why I say it is quite different in this case is that already ECOWAS decides that this is the direction we must follow in the Cote d'Ivoire. And now it requires all member states to take necessary actions. So whatever Nigeria might have said in the past has always been within the framework of the ECOWAS directives. There was the case of General Olusegun Obasanjo at a point in time when he told some coup makers in either Sao Tome, Principe in the past to say, no, this one will not be acceptable. Yes, many of these countries, Nigeria has cooperation agreements with them. So either within the framework of a bilateral or plurilateral or multilateral agreement, Nigeria has always operated within that particular framework. Never was there a time Nigeria will behave as a regional hegemon and go and interfere or intervene. No, we've not been doing that one. It's not part of our character.
In the last 1 year, we've had cause to complain in terms of, certain things, that maybe in our relationship with the United States. Would you say that things are freezing up?
Yes, of course. You are not at all far from the truth. You are very correct. The issue is that, look, first of all, if you look at the relationship between Nigeria and the U.S. In the recent past, right from 2-3 years ago, when it was first meaningfully discussed that Nigeria might disintegrate in 2015, a lot of suspicions arose because some scholars, some observers, some American observers first drew attention to it. That, okay, there might be disintegration. How? At what time will this occur? We didn't know. So the suspicion that Americans might have an agenda was already there, rightly or wrongly. The Washingtonian government made it clear that, look, the observations were not governmental, that they are scholars, they are observers. First point. What will happen thereafter was what Muammar Gaddafi will say, that the only solution to Nigeria's political problem, and not the word only, it's not my own word I'm quoting, only solution to Nigeria's political problem is to have Nigeria divided into Muslim North, Christian South. Now, is there any linkage between Libya and the Americans? We don't know. Research is yet to focus on that particular area. But the issue now is that already the foundation that was initially laid was that there might be disintegration. What might have informed the American position, American analysis, might be that an agreement was done in 1914 for 99 years. and it was expected to come to an end in 2014. So logically, for any good analyst, you can say now, with the situational reality on ground in Nigeria, it may be difficult to renegotiate the 1914 agreement and now say Nigeria might disintegrate. But it doesn't work that way. What will complicate or introduce a new factor for analysis in Nigeria-US relations is the fact that with the intensification of Boko Haramism in Nigeria, Nigeria sought the assistance of the Americans. And this assistance has not been forthcoming. There was the issue of the EVD, the Ebola virus disease. Nigeria sought the assistance with the Zima vaccine. There's no forthcoming, response. So, with all these factors, observers, students of Nigeria-US relations sat down and began to look at it. Why is it like this? We wanted to buy Cobra helicopters. They want to buy some equipment to do battle with Boko Haram from South Africa, from Israel. On record, the United States blocked that effort. So in the thinking of ordinary people like us, we think that, look, America is not at the level of a good relationship with Nigeria. But diplomats can say, yes, it's good, or etc.
What about, did we also put our foot down and not invite them on? Because there are many who also think, many ordinary Nigerians who would think, well, we don't seem to have put our foot down enough because some of our leaders appear subservient to some of these foreign leaders, almost taking hook, line, and sinker, whatever they suggest. They think if we had done certain things right and say...
I cannot agree more with you. You are right. You talk about some leaders. But the relevant leaders at stake now, they are the leaders that take decision on Boko Haram, on security. And that's the Jonathanian administration. We must limit our discussion to that. There's no way you wouldn't have some subservient leaders. Many people, please, if the Americans are here, some people benefit. All right? So for any policy position, some are for, some are against. And in this case, the critical issue is that Goodluck Jonathan wants to fight Boko Haram. And the same Goodluck Jonathan wants our friend. Look, America is a strategic partner, whether anybody likes it or not. But the issue is that at the end of the day, the Americans should recognize that Nigeria is Nigeria, and that Nigeria is not America. Nigeria cannot be United States.
Just one moment, though. Do you think that it was wise to have convened that conference then of all diplomats? Do you think that we should have just, if it was the United States we're talking to, should we have been more direct?
In this case, you cannot be sure of how many envoys, ambassadors are engaged. The critical point, the conventional practice, you may have a particular country in mind, but you must use a general framework to make your point without offending. I, as a scholar, when I look at the antecedents and all those things, I know that at least the United States must be one of the suspects. So there are many countries that are involved, and I think that the foreign minister, Aminu Wali, is doing very well in this case by drawing the attention of a particular case, if it was only a particular case, to the attention of all others, so that it serves as deterrent for all others.
All right, Professor Bola Akinterinwa is the Director General, Nigeria Institute of International Affairs. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for your kind invitation.
All right, Prof. We'll be back after the break. Join us again.